It's Katie Crysdale here from Lakeview Aquatic Consultants. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. I'm continuing on with my lifeguard training series where I'm talking about different topics that I feel are of great value to those of you who are training to become lifeguards, wish to become lifeguards, or if you're already working on a pool deck and you want to be a better lifeguard. Today, I want to talk about the Lifesaving Society Rescue Aid Position Statement. I am located in Alberta. Although I am a national lifeguard instructor, national lifeguard instructor trainer, national lifeguard on pool decks for 20 plus years, all of the opinions and ideas I express in this video are only mine. They should not be considered in any way official or endorsed by the Lifesaving Society branch here in my province. I will put a link to the Rescue Aid Position Statement down below. This came out, I would say, about 10 years ago in the province of Alberta, and it came out at the time when a lot of facilities were moving to lifeguard tubes. To zoom out here for a moment, not every aquatic facility in Canada uses a lifeguard tube. I know that'll be a shock to some American lifeguards, where it appears a lifeguard rescue tube is the de facto rescue aid, both in pool environment as well as open water. But here in Canada, speaking for myself, when I first became a lifeguard back in 2003, I learned how to do rescues with a flutterboard, i.e. a kickboard. I 100% know that is not a rescue device, and a lot of lifeguards in other countries or jurisdictions look at us like we're crazy, but that was literally how I was trained in 2003. I'm not suggesting the way we've always done it is the best, but I know even now in 2025, my personal skill set is most versatile with a flutterboard or a kickboard. A tube is way better in terms of the lift and rescue capacity, but the main point of this rescue aid position statement is that about 10 years ago, when we still had the Canadian Red Cross lifeguard program, they were heavily focused on the rescue tube. At the same time, some aquatic facilities here in Alberta started requiring lifeguards to carry and use rescue tubes. It was an occupational requirement, an organizational expectation of those employees that they conduct rescues with rescue tubes. I have worked with rescue tubes a few times, but I am just not as good at it. I do teach rescue tubes in my national lifeguard courses. It is available to you as an aid. You may end up at a facility where it is the default piece of rescue equipment. The main point I want to make in this video is that the National Lifeguard Program does not require or endorse the exclusive use of one rescue aid. So we want to be really clear in our minds what is an occupational requirement versus what is a training requirement. One of my big pet peeves as a national lifeguard instructor or aquatic leadership instructor in general is instructors who are so my way or the highway that they limit what they teach their candidates based entirely on their preferences. So if I said, I don't like rescue tubes, I'm not good at them, I'm not going to teach them, that disadvantages you in my class that I'm not good at using them, and that doesn't fairly prepare you for the workplace environment. All of this is a long way to say that 10 years ago, the Lifesaving Society here in Alberta and the Northwest Territories, they came out with this position statement. And I love it. I pull it out all the time in my aquatic leadership classes, in management consulting with clients where we're developing workplace procedures, training manuals, competency checks. This document is so well worded and really should be in the minds of a lot more people when they say, if you work at my pool, you have to use a tube. Is that the case? Is that accurate to the training they've received? So the statement says, national lifeguards have the knowledge, skills, fitness, and judgment to use a variety of rescue aids. National lifeguards will apply judgment to select a rescue aid that is appropriate for the situation and environment. The following rescue aids are recognized and supported for use by the Lifesaving Society: reaching poles, rescue cans, rescue tubes, throw bags, ring buoys, flutterboards, very controversial, but flutterboards are listed, life jackets, and PFDs. In the statement, it gives reasons why or how you would use each item. I'm going to skip that because if you're watching this video, you're a water safety professional, you know how to use a life jacket. National lifeguards are taught to make both contact and non-contact rescues. Remember that ladder approach that we learn when we start out as a lifesaver in Bronze Star, Bronze Medallion, Bronze Cross, now Assistant Lifeguard? We talk about that ladder approach: talk, throw, reach, wade, row, swim, tow, and carry. As we go up the ladder, there is increasing level of risk to ourselves as the rescuer. We start out with non-contact rescues at the bottom, where we're a lifesaver, we're throwing an item, versus a contact rescue such as a tow or a carry to the side of the pool. We make the decision. If you can diffuse a situation or use the ladder approach and throw an aid instead of going in the pool, that is a safer course of action. National lifeguards are taught to make both contact and non-contact rescues. In contact rescues, the National Lifeguard may or may not use a rescue aid. We encourage you as instructors to take it. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes it drifts away. Sometimes it doesn't make it and you do the rescue full contact with no aid. In making a decision about the use of contact or non-contact rescue techniques and the use of rescue aids, lifeguards should consider the following principles. The victim's head and shoulders should be supported above the water at the earliest moment. We want an open airway, whether they're conscious or unconscious. We want to reduce that panic, especially if they're conscious. The safety of the rescuer must be assured. Whenever a lifeguard makes a contact rescue, a second lifeguard should be prepared to enter the water to provide immediate backup if required. This speaks to the fact, in my opinion, that sometimes there's confusion about what the rescue aid is for. Is the rescue aid for you to hand to the victim who is drowning? They're a distressed swimmer. We want to get their shoulders out of the water and then they're able to kick themselves in? Or is the aid to assist you as the rescuer, the lifeguard, to keep you afloat if you're now weighed down, carrying somebody to the side? There's no right or wrong answer to that. There's different applications, but the rescue aid, what it should be and how you will use it will depend on you as a lifeguard, your skill set, the aquatic environment, and the nature of the rescue, like the person who needs rescuing. The other point is made here. Whenever a lifeguard makes a contact rescue, a second lifeguard should be prepared to enter the water to provide immediate backup if required. If you are the guard who sees somebody in your zone who needs assistance, you need to signal. You're not a hero and you just jump in without anyone knowing. You signal, you blow your whistle, you use your walkie-talkie, you use a hand signal. You let people know, I'm entering the water, I'm going to check this out. And then they are prepared, shifting to your zone to cover your area. They're keeping an eye on you to see how that works out. If they need to also jump in and assist, if they also need to call backup like a third guard or 911, it's not just one person, it's a team environment. Then it goes into the background. Some facilities have required national lifeguards to use a specific rescue aid at all times that is not always appropriate for the environment or rescue response. When this occurs, the owner or owner agent is limiting the national lifeguard's ability to use judgment to determine the best and safest rescue response for the situation. National lifeguards are trained to use a variety of rescue aids and techniques through their prerequisite training, such as Bronze Medallion and Bronze Cross, now Assistant Lifeguard. They may have additional experience utilizing rescue aids from other Lifesaving Society programs, such as the Canadian Swim Patrol, i.e. Rookie, Ranger, or Star, Bronze Star, or Lifesaving Sport. I would also add JLC, Junior Lifeguard Club. My own personal commentary on that background is, if, for example, I, as somebody who's not very good with tubes, I go work at a facility and that facility says, Katie, you're going to need to carry a tube. You need to be prepared to do a rescue with the tube. I personally would take accountability to go practice to be comfortable with that piece of equipment. But the Lifesaving Society is making the point that in the National Lifeguard program and all of the adjacent programs, we do teach a variety of rescue techniques and aids. In those programs, I, as an instructor, am required to give you the opportunity to try at least 3 types of rescue equipment. So to then later, when you have more expansive training, more knowledge and experience, to say, oh, no, you can't use any of these other things I told you were okay. You now can only use a rescue tube, is, in my personal opinion, the basis for this whole position statement. The rationale. A fundamental aspect to National Lifeguard certification is the application of judgment. Put a pin in that. Judgment is so important to learn, to implement. Huge challenge when you're becoming a lifeguard. National lifeguards use their judgment to determine what rescue aid is most appropriate for the situation. Providing a variety of rescue aids in strategic locations provides the National Lifeguard with options for response. The National Lifeguard Program, Alert, Lifeguarding in Action, and the Canadian Lifesaving Manual support the training of national lifeguards in the use of multiple rescue aids. National lifeguards are trained in multiple rescue techniques and are able to respond both with and without the use of a rescue aid. So for me, this whole position statement is to reinforce the diversity of training that I need to provide as a national lifeguard instructor. That is built into the lesson plans, built into the course outline. It would be shortchanging you as a candidate if you were in my class and I only showed you one technique, one rescue aid. I know it takes more time to learn different techniques, but it's very important that you as a lifeguard figure out what works best for you based on your size, literal height, hand size, strength, as well as your skill set in different aquatic environments. If you have tubes at your facility, it's not saying you cannot use them. We should not be requiring either way. We should not be requiring our lifeguards to use a tube or not use a tube, to use a flutterboard or not use a flutterboard, to use a throw bag or not use a throw bag. I think it is a really, really great tool, whether you are a lifeguard instructor, pool supervisor, facility manager, somebody who does lifeguard training. Versatility is super, super important for our industry and to professional growth. Let me know if you agree with any of my opinions in this video. Have you heard about the rescue aid position statement before watching this video? Do you use it in your courses? Have you seen it at your facility? Is this something that has come up during lifeguard in-service? Do you work at an aquatic facility that only requires or allows you to use one type of equipment? Or let me know in the comment box below. I appreciate you being here and I'll catch you in the next video.